All right then, so let's go ahead and clean up this code completely. So I don't need this, and I'm just going to delete this stuff. Delete it, and here I don't need to delete everything. Just want to delete this. All right, so let me keep this. So now in this sections, we are going to understand how to manipulate your DOM element, the document object model, just by using the JavaScript, how we can modify that. So here, what I'm going to do is, so I'm going to create a container, and inside this container, I'm going to have the shape, and I'm going to have this as a circle. Okay, shape circle, copy and paste it. So we are going to have only one shape. Initially, it is going to be the circle, right? And here I'm going to have these button groups. And here I'm going to have three different buttons, button, colon, button, right? Which is going to be square, copy and paste it. And this is going to be circle again. And this is going to be the rectangle again. Say this changes. All right, so let us bring everything in the center. Instead of starting position, let's keep everything in the center. So now let's go ahead and start writing this container. So this container dot container. So the padding inside this container should be top and bottom 40 pixels, left and right 50 pixels. And then I need some border effect on this. So border, it's going to be 1 pixel solid border RGBA 000.2, something like this. Then I need some border effects. Border radius, which is going to be 10 pixels. Then let's add some box shadow effects like 2 pixels, 10 pixels, RGBA 0.2, comma, inset, just the same. Save these changes, just like this. All right. So inside this container, I'm having this shape, copy it, shape. So for this, I'm going to keep the shape as width as 300 pixels, height as 300 pixels, and border radius, it's going to be 100%, and the background color, it's going to be teal color, something like this, right? And this container, it should be in the display flex. So then I need to change the flex, align items in the center, something like this. Then I need to increase the gap between it. Gap, it's going to be 30 pixels. So if you wish to keep it in that way, you can keep it in that way. Then I need to target this button group. So for this button group, inside the container only, dot container, I need to make it as a display flex, align items center, and I need to keep it justify the content also in the center, and the flex direction, it should be in the column direction like this, right? Then I need to make the gap, let's say 40 pixels. Save these changes. Now it's looking fine. Now inside this button groups, I need to bring the target this button. So this button should be let's say padding top and bottom 10 pixels, left and right 24 pixels or something like this. Then width, of course we need to fix the width. I'm going to keep the width as 60 pixels or 120 pixels or something, 120 pixels. That should looks nice. Then border radius 5 pixels. Outline, I don't need any outline, none. And border, I don't need any border, none. Say this changes, something like that. And cursor, it's going to be the pointer, and I'm going to have some shadow effects for each and everything, and I don't need the inset border, something like this, right? Then the text color, it's going to be #222, and the font weight, it's going to be 800. It should look a little bit darker, something like this. All right. Now for this shape also we need to add some shadow. That's looking much better. Okay, so when I click square, what I need to do is I need to change this shape into a square shape. When I click the circle, I need to change it to circle back. Rectangle, I need to change it to rectangle. So this is what we wish to do, right? So that's what we are all trying to do now. So for this container, we haven't fixed any width or anything. So let's see. Let's fix the width for this container. Width, I'm going to make this width as 90% of the parent. Okay, 90% of the parent, and justify content space evenly. Now they are distributed their spaces evenly, right? So that's looking much better now. So what we can do is whenever I click this, we need to do some action. So let's get to the console. All right. So now I need to target all these elements. What are the things that we need to do? We need to perform actions on this one, and this one, and this one. So we need to perform actions on 4 different elements. So before targeting these 4 different elements, I need to access these elements through the JavaScript. So what I need to do is I need to create a new file inside the JS folder, main.js, and I need to bring that and I need to load it over here by using the script tag right after here. Let's say /assets.js main.js. Save the changes. Now the scripts file is being successfully loaded. You can see the main file is loaded over here. All right, you can see the main file is loaded here also. Cool. Now let's access all these elements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to I will show you how to access those elements inside. So you can access these elements just like the same way how we accessing these elements by using the class ID and the tag name. Just exactly the same way we can do it inside the JavaScript too, right? So now I'm gonna give an unique ID for these buttons, ID btn square, and let me copy this and let me paste it everywhere and change this to circle and change this to rectangle. All right, and shape, I'm just going to access that shape by using the CSS class itself. So let me copy this ID. So we are going to use the const button square equals to, so this button square, it's going to be from the document, we're gonna access get the element by the ID by using this button square. So before jumping into the JavaScript, you need to have at least some basic knowledge in JavaScript. What is const and how it is variables and what is its data types and everything. All right. So here I'm going to duplicate these 2 more times and I'm going to copy this circle. Control D. Oops. Paste it and copy this one and paste it. All right, so now we have 3 different elements which is coming from our document. By we are accessing those elements by its ID. Now I need to access the shape. So const shape equals to document. From the document, I'm going to access it by using the query selector. So basically the query selector is a function which helps you to access an element either by the tag name or CSS or even by ID. In this case, we are going to access it by using their CSS name. So dot shape. So this element will be accessed from our document and stored locally in this specific variable, right? So now we need to like perform some level of operations in it, right? Like on click, whenever I need to click this, I need to perform some actions. So what I'm going to do is for the button square, btn square, I'm going to add an event listener. So add event listener. It's a function. So this function takes 2 different parameters. One is the event name, then is a callback function. So whenever this particular event it's being triggered by this button, I need to call this callback function. So the event name is going to be click. Whenever I'm clicking that function, I need to call this function, the callback function. So over here, I'm going to pass that event. Then I'm going to print that event, console.log event. So now If I click the square button, nothing is happening. Why? Let me refresh it. You can see now the event is being triggered. It's showing what event is being triggered. You can check it out. Pointer type is going to mouse, and what is the event type? It's a click event, and what is the view? So you can simply access all these properties which is coming from that event. So in this case, I don't need this event at all. I'm just going to remove it, and I'm just going to say console.log, and I'm going to say hi. So if I close this and if I click it, now you can see still why it's asking me to refresh every single time. So let me stop this, close it, and let me go live one more time. All right, so let me go to the console. Okay, so here now you can see whenever I click this, it's showing hi, 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 right? So now what I need to do is, so basically whenever I'm clicking this button, so I need to insert a new element over here. Instead of circle, I need to bring the shape square, right? So what I'm trying to say here is, by default, it's having this width over here, right? The border radius property. Don't need to put it over there, right? So what I need to do is container dot shape. If the container has this circle inside in it, it should have this width. Then cut this, paste it two more time, and this is going to be the square, and this is going to be the rectangle. So if it is having it as a square, then the border radius is going to be 10 pixels. If it is a rectangle, then the width, of course, it's going to be more than height. So I'm reducing the height as 120 pixel, and the width, the border radius, it's going to be the 10 pixels. Save these changes. Now let me get back to the elements over here. Now we have three elements over here. If this element having shape circle, then it should look like a circle. If this element is like shape square, then it looks like a square. If the element is shape rectangle, then it looks like a rectangle. By default, what we have in it, we are having shape circle. Now let me change this circle to square. It looks like square. Now if I change this to rectangle, it looks like rectangle, right? Okay, it should be 10 pixels. Yeah, now it looks like a rectangle. So this is what we need, right? So what I'm going to do is, so basically I'm going here, and when I click button square, I need to remove the circle from this list, remove the circle or rectangle or square, whatever it is, and then I need to insert the respective shapes over there. So from the shape dot class list, I'm gonna remove the circle because it's a square, and I'm going to remove one more. If it is a rectangle also, I need to remove it. So I'm going to remove it. Then I'm going to add the square because we are clicking the square button, right? So that's the reason. So now if I click the square, you can see it changed to square. So we have to do the same stuff for button circle and for button rectangle. So when I click button circle, I need to add the button circle. I need to remove the rectangle and the square, right? Over here, if it is a rectangle, I need to remove the circle and I need to remove the square. Then I need to add the rectangle. Like here, see, if I click square, now it is square. If I click circle, it's circle. If I click rectangle, it's rectangle. Whenever you're clicking it, you can see it's changing. See, now it's circle, now it's rectangle. So the changes are happening very instantly. So to do that, what we can do is we can add some transition effects over here. So for the shapes, I'm gonna add the transition all 0.3 seconds ease in out, which means it should come smoothly inside and should go smoothly outside, right? Look at that. So this is all about your DOM manipulation. So this is a simple example that we can practice in and around with the by using. Like by default, the shape color is going to be teal, but when it comes to circle, the background color it's going to be red or something. And when it comes to rectangle, the background color it's going to be blue or something. Now you can see when it's square, it's green. Circle, see how is that? So this is all about the DOM manipulation. Just the mainly the most of the thing is it's all CSS, but we are using the JavaScript just to perform some actions in it by triggering some changes on the CSS. Then the entire stuff looks so beautiful, right? This is all about the basic understanding about your DOM manipulations.